The Genesis G70 is hugely important for its maker, a sports sedan shouldering outsize expectations that it can stake a place for the nascent Korean luxury brand as a contender against the established players. But even Genesis itself admits that the world doesn't need more luxury cars. The world is fine without Genesis, brand chief Manfred Fitzgerald told us, and therefore the company says it needs to be daring and to make its products special and desirable. While the larger G80 and G90 already on sale are good, they don't break any new ground, and their genealogies include Hyundai-badged antecedents. The G70 line starts under Genesis, and that fact, along with its broader target audience, codifies its significance. Its ambitions for Genesis drove parent company Hyundai to poach leading figures from across the industry for its executive roster, including Fitzgerald, who previously served as the director of the Lamborghini brand, former Bentley and Lamborghini design chief Luc Donckerwolke, ex-GM and 5th-gen Chevrolet Camaro designer Sangyup Lee, and chassis guru and former BMW M head Albert Biermann. Their mission: make cars that are achingly beautiful and drive even better, a goalpost often raised by automakers but rarely cleared.As you'd expect. Genesis aims directly at the German triumvirate of Audi, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz, and the G70 targets those companies' A4, 3 Series, and C-Class. Its 184.4-inch overall length and 111.6-inch wheelbase put it right in the wheelhouse. The current F33 series was the dynamic bogey. We're not sure we'd have made the same selection, while the A4 and the C set the bars for refinement and luxury. We recently flew to Seoul to pore over the G70 and drive pre-production models at Hyundai's Namyang Proving Ground. These photos show the Korea-spec G70 in production form. In person, the G70 looks cleanly designed with few fussy details. We'd hardly call the car audacious, apart from that whole Korean rear-drive sports sedan aiming to punch Germany in the mouth thing. But this is merely the first vehicle in a line that increasingly will push the stylistic envelope. For example, we're told the GV80 SUV coming in 2019 will be even more daring than the fairly bold concept shown earlier this year. That concept's headlights point to the direction the brand is taking, with the parallel tube-like running lamps of the G70 serving as an iterative step leading to the thin LED-specked strips of the GV80. Donckerwolke says all Genesis lamps eventually will be as thin and as bright as possible, and he's keen to abandon traditional lighting clusters, which he derides as aquariums filled with shit. Eventually, things will get more adventurous, as Genesis vehicles develop radical light signatures that streak from the headlights, across the fenders, and toward the leading edges of the doors. Inside the G70 is a driver-oriented cockpit with a sensible layout. There's a central control knob behind the shift lever to control the chassis modes, and a symmetrical center stack is topped by a de rigueur, bezel-less tablet-style touchscreen. A row of toggles below the display houses redundant controls for various infotainment functions, and a nicely sculpted steering wheel sits in front of analog gauges split by a high-res screen. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard. The US market G70 will offer a pair of engines, a turbocharged 2.0-liter inline-four rated for 252 horsepower and 260 pounds-to-foot of torque, and a twin-turbocharged 3.3-liter V6 good for a stout 365 horsepower and 376 pounds-to-foot. Outputs are approximate. Exact US market specs won't be finalized until early next year, ahead of a March or April on-sale date as a 2019 model. Both will be available with rear or all-wheel drive, and all models also get a limited-slip rear differential as standard. The same Hyundai-designed 8-speed automatic from the G80 is standard across the board, albeit with specific programming, although the US may also get a special treat in a first-year-only 2.0T with a manual transmission. If that happens, credit Genesis's US arm, which we're told requested the combo, When paired with the 3.3T and put into sport mode, the all-wheel drive system is said to be more reluctant to shift torque from the rear in the interest of driving fun. Says Biermann of this behavior, "It probably wouldn't be in the car without me. Because 1, 2, or 3 aren't enough anymore." The G70 will have 5 chassis modes: Smart, Auto, Normal, Custom, Eco, and Sport. These affect steering weight and response, throttle calibration, engine note, and automatic shift points on all cars, all-wheel drive behavior on those models, and damper firmness on 3.3Ts, which have an adjustable suspension. These dampers might be optional on the 2.0T. All G70s feature launch control and brake-based torque vectoring, where an inside wheel is braked to encourage rotation. The AWD system, which adds roughly 130 pounds regardless of engine, sends 100% of available torque to the rear by default, shifting grunt forward as needed. We don't have curb weights yet, but approximate front-rear weight distributions are claimed to be 52-48% for the rear drive 2.0T, 53-47 for the 2.0T AWD, and 55-45-ish for the 3.3T. The G70 rides on a shorter version of the same architecture employed by the Kia Stinger. In comparison with that car, the Genesis is 5.8 inches shorter overall, 0.8 inch narrower, and the same height, while riding on a wheelbase paired by 2.8 inches. The V6 car we drove had rear-wheel drive and was a US-focused dynamic edition wearing 225/40 ZR19 front, and 255/35 ZR19 rear, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. It was here that the G70 really came alive. As it does in the G80 and the G90, this engine sounds pleasingly aggressive and effortlessly delivers its power in a predictable wave. It doesn't feel overworked in the slightest here, the smaller G70 leaping forward enthusiastically whenever you dip deep into the accelerator. One issue: the car would briefly continue to surge forward when releasing the throttle while in sport mode, a calibration issue that we expect will be ironed out before G70s reach customers. One of the Genesis brand's largest challenges is its lack of heritage, although that doesn't matter much to Koreans, who prefer new things to be completely fresh in every aspect, including vehicle styling not only across generations, but also within a current lineup. This won't be an issue for this first ever G70, but moving forward, Genesis executives have given themselves, and by extension the marque, the task of shifting the Korean mindset to more of a global view, where brand identity and bloodline is every bit as important as contemporary product excellence. While forthcoming crossover SUV models will decide Genesis's financial future, its reputational hopes are firmly pinned on this car. Based on this early exposure, consider that reputation bolstered